The key themes that we hear from our customers are the need to simplify and standardize. With SAP Cloud for HR, you have the maximum flexibility to create your unique differentiating processes on top of those standardized best practices. While needing to simplify and promote consistency, talent management remains a top priority. Critical new skills are hard to find, and companies need to develop innovative ways to find new people, develop capabilities, and share expertise across the organization. They know that the key to success is having the right people working on the right things at the right time. SAP delivers the most complete and integrated solution to power this next generation of employee engagement and drive new levels of productivity and better business outcomes. We're going to start our demonstration today as Tessa Walker, an HR business partner. Imagine Tessa just walked out of a board meeting where she just learned of the company's plans to expand into a new region with a new team and a new leader. The CEO just assigned her to build this new team and report her progress back to the board. This opportunity is critical to the organization's success, and she wants to ensure she's properly executing on the company's objectives. Over the next few minutes, I'd like to tell you a story and show you how our solution can support you in achieving your business outcomes. We can see here Tessa's home landing page, where she has many pieces of information right at her fingertips. I have my to-do list here with everything I need to do from an HR talent perspective, perhaps learning courses for myself or my own self-service transactions. Transactions are activity for my own team members or for other people in the organization that I support from an HR perspective. I also have analytics available at my fingertips. We can see a few examples here. Succession positions without a ready candidate is something I'm really interested in as part of this initiative, and I can see that this is trending down. My analytics headline, different from what we might typically think of as reporting in analytics, where I might receive a list of people, whether they're successors, whether they have a critical job role. This is pushing out to me actionable information and will grab my attention so that I can take action. Of course, this page is also all personalizable to my needs. I can add additional tiles that the organization has made available to me, maybe other metrics or analytics that might be of interest at different points in time of the year. And of course, everything that's available to me here and shown to me here is based on my role. Since Tessa is a global HR business partner, the information that we're seeing here is of a global nature and across the whole organization. As we go through the scenarios with other users, we'll notice that their homepage and the information shown will be relevant to their own roles within the organization. So let's get started. Through our workforce planning tools, we first need to plan and define the critical roles, skills, projected headcount, and costs for our new team. Once our plan's been approved, we'll begin by assessing the available talent and make decisions to either develop this team internally or bring them in from the outside. Tessa has been working with one of her managers that she supports, Maya, regarding a member of her team that's interested in a position in China. The workforce plan here is showing us some pre-populated content and some information about workforce demand based on historical trend. We're really happy to see that internal mobility is increasing because we're very committed to improving career pathing within the organization. We can also see workforce demand increasing through 2017, and that we can see the gaps in key talent are dramatically increasing as well. This further supports the known need for the increasing supply of talent within the Chinese region and all of the key positions there that need to be filled. Let's go ahead and work with Maya and our leadership team to further build out this plan. We can do this using the Presentations tool. The Presentations tool allows me to combine static information that I wish to communicate through PowerPoint along with information live from the solution. Here we can see our org chart for Jingfeng, the President of China, and we can see our to-be-hired position for the critical role of Vice President of Operations and Maintenance. Clicking into this allows me to see the 3 successors for this particular role. And I can also see that a member of Maya's team, Jeff Hill, has been identified as ready now. Let's go ahead and take a look at the succession plan for this particular role. Tessa can have immediate access into the succession plan for any positions within the organization that she has the ability to access. I can see here the Vice President of Operations and Maintenance role for the Chinese region that we were just looking at. Clicking into this gives me a nice, easy one-page view of all of the successors for this role. I can further expand to compare the successors to help me have all of the information at my fingertips to make a good decision. Expanding on the details gives us more information about the employment for these three individuals. We can see Jeff is the person that I'm interested in based on my conversations with Maya. He's a high impact of loss and a high risk of loss, and the other successors don't have quite as much of an impact. You can scroll through here and further review other data. You can also see that Jeff is a star within our organization and is willing to relocate to China with fluency in Chinese listed as a language skill for him. Looks like Jeff is a star performer within the organization and is a great fit for a relocation to China. Jeff is rated as ready now, and Maya already had him in mind as a high potential successor. At this point, Maya and I both agree that it's time to work with Jeff on development opportunities to help get him ready for this new role. Now let's take a look at Jeff's development plan from the point of view of his manager, Maya. We can see here Maya Cooper's homepage. Her homepage as a manager is relevant to her role, similar to how we saw it for Tessa. I also have analytics here available to me, as well as my different headlines that I've selected to see based on what's important to me. Again, based on my role as a manager, the information that I'm seeing here is for the group of people on my team. I have my chosen quick links, any to-do items that I have, as well as direct insight into my team. Here we can jump right into any actions that we want to take for Jeff. At this point, we want to go ahead and look at his career worksheet. The career worksheet reflects roles that Jeff and I have discussed that he's interested in developing towards. In this case, we've identified the planning manager. The career worksheet shows the competencies that are identified for the planning manager, and we can see that based on evaluations that he's had, he meets 3 of those competencies, but has 1 in which he still needs to work towards. Right from here, I can go ahead and add a new development goal for this competency to help him to close that gap. Using the coaching advisor, I can create a development objective for the setting a strategic vision competency. Again, all of this is included content with the solution, makes it really easy for managers and employees to come up with good learning objectives and associated learning activities that we'll see in a moment. In this case, we want to have Jeff try to incorporate the vision or end goal into his daily work and identify goals to maintain his motivation. Gives me some great ideas here, and I can place that text directly into the development objective. Closing out of that, I can also indicate a measure of success to further help me to build this out, elaborate on the status, and indicate here that this is for a future role. Go ahead and save that, and now this development goal is reflected right within Jeff's development goal plan. Now that we have this development objective, we want to add an accountability to this. We can use the learning library to add a learning activity to help him to meet this objective and therefore closing the gap on this setting a strategic vision competency. We can do this through Jeff's development plan. And here we can use the integrated learning library to be able to find a learning activity that helps us to close the gap for this particular competency. We can add a new learning activity and search specifically for learning activities with that particular competency within the learning library and help Jeff to better be enabled to close that gap. Go ahead and give him Bridging the Gap Think Global to help him to move to a 5 as a competency rating and assign that specifically to him here. Additionally, learning activities supporting overall development goal can be added directly into the goal by searching the learning catalog. I want to go ahead and search for anything from a global nature to help Jeff further prepare for this global assignment. Leading in a global environment, let's go ahead and add this to Jeff's learning plan. This is a great example of where Maya can take action in real time. She's seen alignment between the future career goals for her employee, the competencies associated with that new role, development objectives tied specifically to that competency, and then learning activities that are geared specifically towards closing the gap on that competency. We can now see all of the new learning activities reflected in Jeff's development plan. This is a great example of where Maya can take action right in real time. Maya's completed her changes to Jeff's development plan to ensure his readiness for his global assignment. Now let's go ahead and work with Tessa again to ensure that we're not introducing any other gaps by moving Jeff into this global role. As the global business partner, Tessa has visibility into Jeff as well as any other employees that might be identified as successors for his current position. Let's go ahead and log back in as Tessa so that we can review this bench strength for Jeff and determine what the steps are to be able to move him into his role over in the Chinese region. Right from my quick links, I can go right to the succession org chart to be able to view Jeff's department and any successors that there might be for his role. There are visual indicators right on this screen to help me to paint a picture of Jeff. Here we can see that he is a high risk of loss and high impact of loss employee. He does have 2 successors, but both of these are showing red with a readiness of 3 to 5 years out. Not quite as soon as we need for this high impact role, and we know Jeff is moving into a global assignment fairly quickly. Right from here on the succession org chart, I could initiate a talent search to find other employees in the organization that might be a good fit for this role. Knowing that our time frame is short here, instead I want to go and create the job requisition right from here and initiate that search for the operations manager position to replace Jeff. We can see the job title is brought right in here from the org chart that we were just viewing. The first thing we see when we look at the requisition is the workflow. The workflow or approval steps are all completely based on your process and can be configured. In this case, Tessa, the global business partner, is creating this requisition, and we have a requisition administrator that's going to review and approve this before we start sourcing for this particular role. We can see the internal and external job title are brought right in from that succession org chart. And I can toggle right over to the job profile, which is pulled right from the job library for the operations manager role. I could, of course, edit the job description here that would be used for internal and external postings for this job, and it would only affect this particular requisition, not the job that's stored within the job library. Of course, all of the fields within the requisition are completely configurable for your process. We might store organizational information that will help you later when you want to report on this requisition information. Information about the job, any documentation or requirements, as well as the ability to store disqualification questions, which will help us in screening our candidates so that we can focus on those that are most qualified. We are going to fast forward in time to where this position has been approved and automatically posted on internal and external job boards. Let's go ahead and take a look at this from the perspective of a candidate or someone looking at jobs. We can see our careers page here. Throughout the page, we'll see opportunities to join the talent community. This keeps candidates engaged and allows me to give a little bit of my information so we can stay in contact, or allows me to set up a job alert for any positions I might be interested in. Featured jobs allows me to target specific audiences by targeting the information about those particular possibly hard to fill jobs. I can search specifically by location in many different ways here throughout the site. We're really providing a robust experience for all different candidates to cater to all the different ways that people like to search. Both candidates actively searching for jobs or passive candidates that might just be starting to take a look. The career site is optimized to get people directly to the information that they care about, and we can capture our talent faster. Of course, this page can also be branded specifically to your organization. At this point, I'm a candidate, Nitesh Dugal, and I've come to this website because I'm interested in operations positions. I want to go ahead and search for operations roles, or I could also look at operations under featured jobs. Take a look at the operations manager job within Philadelphia, which is nearest to me. I can fully view the job description information that we just saw within the requisition. And I can go ahead and apply now. I might want to apply with my LinkedIn profile or my Facebook profile, bringing in any matching fields I already have updated there. Or I can start the application right from here. I'll be prompted to enter my email address, which will automatically add me to the talent community. I might just give some basic information here, or I might proceed with the application process. Let's go ahead again and fast forward in time and take a look at all of the candidates that have applied for the position and all of Tessa's tools to be able to evaluate those candidates and make a good decision about the best fit candidate for this role. We'll go to Tessa's Job Requisitions Inbox. We can see that we have an operations manager role with 4 candidates that have applied. Clicking into that shows me my literal pipeline view, which reflects all of the different stages in the sourcing process for this operations manager role. Each of these steps is of course configurable to your process and can reflect your own unique stages in your hiring process. I can easily screen my applicants using the resume carousel. From the resume carousel, I can view each candidate's resume, disposition, disqualify them, or add any other comments for other recruiters that might be working on this role, and then move on to the next candidate. I can also sort by the rating. Using those disqualification questions we saw a moment ago, I can focus solely on my qualified candidates, further reducing my applicant pool. Of course, I have insight into different information, especially the interview results. At this point, I've completed interviews for these 4 applicants and can see the consolidated interview results for all 4 of these people from all of the interview team. Let's go ahead and take a look at Nitesh, the applicant that we were just looking at. Nitesh is currently in the offer stage. Here we have access to all of his application information as well as any movement through the process. We can see the different questions that he answered through his application, any assessment details. Here he did complete some pre-employment assessment for us. Detail about the offer letter. We can see this was sent via e-signature, as well as the application status audit trail. Each stage is audited and we can very easily go back and see the activity. I've had all of the information right here at my fingertips to help make a great decision. We've made the offer to Nitesh and he has accepted our offer. I can easily move him right into the ready for hire stage, or we'll initiate onboarding for him. During the onboarding phase, Nitesh will be able to fill out online paperwork and have all of the information set up for him to be productive right from day one. Let's now see what it would look like for Nitesh after he's completed the onboarding process. Nitesh completed his paperwork online before his first day of employment. I've now started with the organization, and I'm feeling very welcome upon logging into the new hire portal. I see a message from my manager helping to acclimate me here to the portal and to my new organization. I can walk through the onboarding tour, which takes me through the different tiles here so that I can learn more about my new role in the organization as well as about my new tool here. Continuing to go through, I can see people to meet, including my manager and my new hire buddy. My fully consolidated to-do list, which I can see here has some learning items that are already placed here for me based on my new hire curriculum, and also could be based on my curriculum for my specific job. Links that my manager chose for me before I walked in the door to help me to learn more about this organization. Other people on my team, I can learn more about them. My goals, I already know what's expected of me. My manager has assigned me some goals into my new hire goal plan. And Jam allows me to collaborate with other new hires. I click into the new hire onboarding group and I can see what other people are. I click into the employee onboarding group and I can see conversations that other people like me are having. I can ask questions such as, where's a good place to go for lunch? How do I catch the combined transportation to work in a nice, safe environment with other new hires? Nitesh now has all the information he needs to contact key people. I know what is expected of me from a goal standpoint. I have access to learning items right here so I can get started and get the ball rolling on my first day. So I'm really ready to go, and it's time to switch gears again. I want to go ahead and meet with Jeff, who I'm replacing, and find out about the new team that I'll be managing and learn about what I need to be working on. Jeff welcomes Nitesh and wants to start out with acclimating Nitesh to the team that he'll be taking over. We can see lots of visual indicators here on Jeff's homepage. As a manager, I have access directly into my team members. I could also have access directly into my goals. I want to go ahead and talk to Nitesh about the goals, which Nitesh will be taking over and responsible for. I can jump directly into my goal plan from here and show Nitesh the goals that I have and how these are aligned to team members. The execution map will give me some more visual indication of how we're doing on these goals. We can see here that James has some issues here with forecasting of future costs. I want to be able to provide a great insight on this to Nitesh, so I'm going to ask James for a status update. Request the update, and then we can make sure that Nitesh and I are on the same page with the current status of this. We also want to review the current performance for my team. I know that I have a high performer on my team, Jada. I want to make sure that we're addressing Jada at this point and take a closer look at her form. What we're seeing here is a best practices performance review form, but of course this is completely configurable to your organization's process. It's really geared towards making the process easy for employees and managers. I can see lots of tools here at the top. A gap analysis calling out specifically where the employee and manager self-evaluation differ, summary of ratings, any items I might have missed, and the ranking of that employee against the team. Jada, as I would have expected, is here as the number 1 out of the 6 employees on my team. You can see here we're in the end of year assessment, and I need to finish this assessment before I transition the team over to Nitesh. This particular form has both goals as well as competencies that are being assessed. And of course, the goals are being pulled in right in from the goal plan. I don't need to copy and paste anything. And I can also see Jada's comments from her self-evaluation right in here, making it really easy to provide my own comments. I can scroll through here further, and I find that I can rate on competencies as well as use the writing assistant for additional ideas or behavioral anchors to help me really understand what does it take to be an exceeds expectations employee for something like accepting responsibility. Really helps me to validate my ratings for my team and also help me to give really quality feedback for my team members here. Can scroll through here and see that I have a couple different competency sections, as well as the ability to add development goals. So we may add development goals to help to close the gaps on some competencies, but in this case, Jada's doing really well, so the development goals may really be to help her to grow further in particular areas. The only area where she was a little bit below extraordinary meeting expectations was in developing work safety, and so we want to help to grow her in this area. Very easy, like we saw earlier, to add a new learning activity and search specifically by competency in the learning library and be able to add fire extinguisher safeties, only thing she's missing. I can assign this directly to her from here. I feel very solid about my plan here for Jada and confident that she'll continue to be a high performer as she moves forward with Nitesh. Jumping back down here, the summary section just gives me a nice summary of all of the ratings, the calculated overall rating, and we could of course have a manual manager overall rating as well. When I'm finished, I can go ahead and send this for HR review, or again, whatever type of approval process that you have for your organization. Once I've done all the evaluations for my team, I want to make sure that I have a good distribution of ratings, and to do that we can use the calibration tool. We also want to make sure that Jada is being compensated fairly for her performance. This tool gives me lots of different views of different types of ratings in the system. Again, I can see just the performance ratings across a group of people and show that my performance distribution is compared to the guideline or the expected distribution for the organization. But I also can look at employees' pay versus their performance, and we can see that we do have some issues here for Jada. She's consistently an excellent performer. However, her pay is pretty low in the comp ratio. She's below the midpoint of her role. So that's something that we want to make sure to take care of within the compensation process. So Nitesh and I will go ahead and take a look at that at this point. The compensation process is currently underway, and I have an annual salary incentive plan waiting for me in my inbox. And I can take a look here at all of my team and how they're being compensated from a base pay as well as an incentive plan perspective. I have my budget, my total amount to spend, and anything I give in this worksheet will automatically come right out of the budget. Of course, these are recommendations that I make, and I can send this off to another stage to be reviewed based on whatever the approval process is for your organization. Here I can see Jada right at the top, extraordinary rating, just as I expect. If I wanted to click into here and view the rating details on my employees, I can, especially when I need to differentiate against groups of employees that might all be meets expectations. And of course, I have all the information I need right at my fingertips to help me to make good decisions about these pay increases. My guidelines are populated. My merit guidelines are based upon the employees' ratings and position and range to really reinforce that I reward the employees that are high performers. Jada is recommended to receive 7 to 9%, but I really want to bring her up in her range, and I'm going to go ahead and give her 10%. The solution's prompting me to that I am above the guideline recommendation. I think that's okay. I just need to submit an explanation before I complete the form. Put in an explanation so that the person reviewing the form will see that, close out of that, and I can go ahead and validate the merit increases provided to my other employees. I could also take a different view and take a look at the compensation profile. Go ahead and save my work here before moving forward. And take a look at the comp profile, which shows me this information in a different manner, more textual information for managers that maybe don't understand compensation concepts, a little bit more pay history information, and I can also toggle between my salary information as well as my incentives information to understand how her incentive payout will be made using a combination of both the business performance as well as her individual performance to give her her incentive payment for the year. So I feel good about my compensation payment. This is really great. Natasha has a much better understanding of not only who my team is, what they're working on, and what their trouble areas are, but he also has a good understanding of the top performers and can help to incentivize Jada to stay and understands what the compensation planning process is going to be. Now that Nitesh has seen the tool firsthand, he sees how intuitive and user-friendly it is and feels really comfortable taking on this process next year. Now we're going to switch gears, and Jeff is going to think a little bit about his own learning and jump over to his learning plan. We've seen how to assign learning through the goal plan, but that's just one of the ways we can assign learning to a user. At a high level, there's really two main reasons people take training. First, because they want to get better at their jobs. They want to achieve a goal or a competency, prepare for a new position, or they simply just want to expand their skills. Another reason, and the main driver behind learning for many of our customers, is for compliance reasons. Employees need to complete things like harassment-free workplace training, ethical training, or other regulated compliance in financial, government, or industries with safety regulations. Regardless how the courses are assigned, they're all going to end up in my user's learning page. My learning assignment shows a full list of all the learning items that need to be completed and shows me how they're going to be delivered to me as the learner. I have different types of courses here. I can sort by different things such as the priority or by the date, or maybe I want to filter specifically into any online learning assignments. I have different tiles here. Curricula allows me to see different groupings of learning activities. My employees allows me to jump directly into my team members to have insight in any learning items that they're working on or are overdue. I could search the learning catalog, I have quick links, or I can see any recent learning items that I've completed or that have been added to my learning plan here. One of the examples of learning here is an instructional-led course here called Situational Leadership. And this was introduced to me as part of the leadership development program that I'm part of. And I can go ahead and register for a particular offering of this instructor-led training. And click into this to learn more about this. As part of the learning solution, we can track all sorts of different information about instructor-led trainings. This main page here, the overview, allows the learner to learn more about this particular class before I decide to enroll. I can see what pre-work I might have to complete or any prerequisites. And then the item details shows me the time of length, the number of credit hours that I might get, and allows me to either register or assign this to a member of my team. We have other types of training examples in our learning plan. Another is SuccessFactors Learning Overview, which is an example of an online learning. Our LMS supports many methods of e-learning and is AICC and SCORM compliant. Jeff can launch e-learning right from the learning plan with one click. And when these courses are mobile enabled, I can access these from my mobile device and even download them for offline use if I'm on a plane without an internet connection. We manage the bookmarking, score time, completion, and other standard communication options so he can function as effortlessly as possible and he can continue to work through the course until he's complete. Other types of courses might be just acknowledging basic things. We've had employees sign PDFs for years and years. We have to send those out, have them sign them, complete them. Basic preparedness here is just an example of a PDF that an employee needs to go ahead and read and acknowledge and do an electronic signature. This basic preparedness course is basically a PDF that has a wrapper that allows us to track when an employee has signed or acknowledged this document. Once that is completed, it's available to us in learning history so we can report on that, or a manager can view that as part of the full learning picture for an employee. Turning to my learning page, I can always go ahead and search the learning library. And here I want to search for leadership. I know leadership is something that I'm very interested in. And when I do search for leadership, you'll notice I can see both formal courses as well as social learning. So social learning is pulling up anything within that JAM collaboration tool that we saw earlier where leadership is mentioned. So we may want to review things like blog posts or discussions, especially here at SuccessFactors. A lot of our learning is done through more of these informal social channels. If I want to learn something about core HR, which does change so rapidly with our quarterly release cycle, I don't necessarily go to a formal learning course about it. I might search the social learning and look for a blog or questions answered by one of our product managers. So it's a really nice way to allow the field to teach each other. And social learning is becoming very popular with our customers so that we could really minimize the effort of formal learning courses on things that are rapidly changing. One example of social learning is a course that I've already been enrolled in here. And this is the Leadership Development Program group. So as part of my record indicating that I'm a future leader, I've automatically part of this Leadership Development Program group, and I was also automatically enrolled in the curriculum for leadership development as we just saw. Overview of this group introduces me to more information about this. Just like we saw earlier, I can participate here in conversations. I can see other members. I have resources that I have access to. And then, of course, within the feed, similar to feeds and conversations you see in other communities, I can ask questions. I can easily upload files, record a video with my mobile device, and upload this. So a really nice way for me to stay up to date with the instructors, interact with the other peers that are part of this program, and reinforce the training program with more on-the-job learning experiences that will help me further progress my leadership skills through this leadership development program. I notice here that Tessa Walker wrote on the group wall and asked a question, a challenge about daily micro actions to help develop leadership mindset. Once I indicate my response to this, and I indicate set up cross-functional teams, there's my idea. Everyone in the group will be notified. I can see here by this indicator that Stephanie Thorne actually provided her response here via mobile device. If I wanted to indicate a particular person that could see this, I could use the @ and make sure to send to Maya Cooper, and that will specifically send a notification to Maya about this so that she can come back and review it and add her own comments. So really easy for me to go ahead and post and collaborate with anyone else that's part of this group. Really fostering knowledge and exchanging information even following the end of a particular formal course. So Jeff has gone ahead and acclimated Nitesh to his role. He's given him insight into the team right from his homepage, made it very easy to jump into any of the information for any of the team members here. He has analytics available to him right at his fingertips. And now we're going to switch gears and go back to Tessa. Tessa is going to initiate Jeff's long-term global assignment over in China to the role of Vice President of Operations and Planning. As the Global HR Business Partner, Tessa can initiate the change to move Jeff over to his global assignment in China. I can find Jeff right from the org chart, and from there I can initiate any changes for him that I have the ability to see based on my role. Clicking into Jeff gives me that Take Action menu, and I can select the option to add global assignment details. You can see here this is all very in plain language. I don't need to know specific HR terminology. It will walk me through this process of adding the global assignment. Select the information to add Jeff into a long-term global assignment starting in September for about 2 years here. We're going to move him into our Chinese region, as we previously discovered that Jeff was a great fit for an open opportunity that we have to grow our Chinese division. I'm going to go ahead and select the Vice President of Operations and Maintenance role that we had talked about earlier, and select his position entry date of September 1st, the start date of his global assignment. We notice here that we are pre-populating much of the information in here, the organizational information, the job information, really saving me time and effort, and ultimately ensuring the validity of this information. This is all coming from the position information, since I've selected this position that already exists for our organization. Drop-down information with pick lists, and you notice we also have some country-specific fields. We do support country-specific fields for over 60 countries with in-country product managers who monitor all the local regulatory and compliance changes and really keep track of the type of information that you need to be tracking for employees in, for example, a region like China. This also can integrate to other SAP tools, such as safety or ERP or purchasing or other types of tools that might need this organizational information or cost center information on this employee. I can fill in any additional details and then move on to give this employee the compensation information in his local currency for this new job. I'm going to go ahead and pay $1 million Chinese yen, or pardon me, $1 million Chinese yen for Jeff here, setting him up in his local currency, getting him ready for his new job. I can go ahead then and submit this, and it will process through the appropriate workflow based on the approval steps for your organization for a global assignment. Once this has been approved, Jeff is all ready to go on his global assignment. He can go ahead and make his address change through employee self-service, making that change to his new home in China. He can view his global benefits that he has available in China and enroll in those and have all of the details that he needs to be able to get started with his life and his new employment over on his Chinese assignment. We've seen Tessa today taking a lot of actions in response to requests from the organization or issues that we found using our analytics tools. Now let's dig a little bit deeper into our analytics to review information just to make sure we don't have any other interventions that we need to make here. Of course, I can see my headlines. My group's number of successors for critical job roles is below target, and I've really worked on being able to address that. I can also see that the termination rate for people with less than 1 year of tenure is increasing. I can click into that and see more details about that analytic. The headlines are taking and consolidating all of the information within the solution and finding trends and being able to present that to me so that I can take action. It's giving me actionable information in a nice summarized format where we can see our areas of concern for the voluntary termination rate of people with low tenure, areas of note where we're doing really well on this, and then trending or grouping of the groups of employees who left to really help me to see this information in good detail to be able to help make some decisions around how to improve or remedy this. I also have some other analytic metrics here, and I can drill into these metrics and learn more about the total cost of voluntary termination, for example, for my organization. All of the metrics that might appear on my homepage or any consolidated role-based dashboards all have a drill to detail where I can see things like time trends, and I can slice and dice this information across different factors by location, by supervisor, or perhaps by other types of factors. All of the metrics here are out of the box, and as so have a definition that is shown to us. So when different users around the world are reviewing these metrics, it's nice for us to be able to use common terminology here and really be able to understand what it is that we're viewing and what that means to the organization. I can even see organization-specific comments about how we might be using this particular metric. Additionally, many metrics being out of the box in a consistent formula also include a benchmark view where I can compare my company's results of this metric to other SuccessFactors customers. We have many organizations that contribute towards these benchmarks, and it's really important for me to be able to see how we're doing against customers perhaps in my industry, my company size, or headquarters location around the world. So we've seen a variety of roles here and how the system has uniqueness across the different roles. First, as a global HR business partner, having insight into the whole organization, and also as a candidate and a new hire that has even more tools specifically towards an onboarded employee. As a manager of a group of employees with direct insight into his team, being able to share all that information and quickly get his new replacement manager up to speed on his team and all of their talents. And then finally, back to our global HR business partner, being able to process a global assignment for employees and have analytics right at her fingertips to be able to make great decisions and coach those employees and managers that she supports in her HR role. You've seen the role-based homepage for each employee with personalization to add or remove information, really making this my own while having access to all of the tools that the organization's made available to me.